ETH, we start with 1 hour chart. Okay, first of all, if we refer to our analysis, when the price was here, at that time the price haven't broke this low. We mentioned we're looking, if we get the buy, we'll be more interested and the possibility the price can break this low, and we were expecting the price can drop to this level, which was 1250. Price drop after this small correction, but it couldn't take. And now we see the price reverse. Okay, what we see, we want to see this is the start of the up move or is a correction for one more drop. Okay, that means this one can be, we can be within this move for a longer time. In this case, we start with daily chart. Okay, based on daily chart, this one usually most of the charts that are similar to each other. The way it's moving is very corrective. We want to see whether we can get a bigger correction for more drop or we can get any reversal. All right, that's why if we get the buy setup, in terms of the risk and reward, based on what we have right now, it can give us better trade setup. Okay, but what we can see here, last time we will put in this one relative to this, and even we mentioned in terms of the ways forming and length and time is not same. Okay, now the thing is, first of all, we want to see whether this one is the start of the up move or this one can turn to a move for a bigger correction with the internal correction. Okay, because this one is right now is moving is more similar to what we have here. Okay, by the way, as I mentioned, if we get the buy, we are more interested in the buy, but we should be aware of this possibility that this one can be another move for one more drop, or this one can turn to a channeling, all right, for more drop, deeper drop. Okay, by the way, if we put this one to each other in relative to each other, BCBs on MACD, and here we have a divergence. That's why if we get any buy, we will be more interested. But based on forward chart, we have this move. If we get a correction, we can consider to for buy. Okay, how about if we move to 1 hour chart? How we can trade it based on 1 hour chart? As we can see, when the price was here, we mentioned any breakout for the reversal, we want to take it. This is what we get, but we didn't have any trade setup. Even if we move to 15 minute, we see we don't have any trade setup. Okay, but the one thing I need to highlight here, okay, this is not a trade setup because we didn't mention it. I didn't mention in my last analysis, but sometimes when we see on online trading, we take it. Okay, because based on forward chart, we see we have a divergence, and even based on 1 hour chart, if we put it this one in relative to this, we see based on MACD we have a divergence as well here. If we put this one, okay, we see we had a divergence, and especially when we put this one in relative to this, also we have a divergence. Okay, that's why when we see this kind of the move and drop, then we see whether we can get any buy from here at the dip, because if we get any based on lower time frame, any buy from here, your stop loss will be here. Okay, that's why I mentioned this one is some kind of the risky, but if you get in term of the risk and reward can give good trade, and mostly we trade based on 15 minute. Okay, and if we move to 15 minute, after we see this drop, we get this, this correction, we get this drop. Also, you can see we have a divergence. Okay, usually when we see this kind of the move, and mostly we do online, that's why I didn't mention my last analysis. When we see the price drop, we will look for buy, whether we put our entry above this, or even we had the opportunity with the sharp move. When we see this correction, we have entry, we put our trade above this and the stop loss here, then we get the trade. Okay, this is one of the trade when we trading online, we get it. But the thing is, what we will expect, we get if for it move higher. If it is not moving, we take out the trade. Why we want to get this kind of the risky trade? Because as we can see, the stop loss is here and the entry is here. If this one move, if we move to higher time frame, if this is the start of the up move and this one can at least take this high, in terms of the risk and reward can give us really good trade. This is what we risk and this is what we get. Okay, that's why sometimes when we do get the trade online, I mean when we're trading online, when we see this kind of the trade, even is really risky, but we have a lot of the reason to take it, because for one of the reason, the risk is very low. Okay, I mean where we have the stop loss, and we is, as we can see, based on forward 1 hour 15 minutes, we have a divergence, and even we get the trade setup. Okay. Anyway, now we want to see what's the. This is what I put here, and especially I rely on this, not even MACD, but I use the MACD as well. I compare. Okay, this is one of the things sometimes we can look for buy or even sell when we see this kind of the move, when we see overall picture. Okay, just traders, they can try and error whether they can get this kind of the short-term trade or not, because right now maybe the price cannot continue and return. Okay, we take out the trade, but if this one continue in terms of the risk and reward, can give a really good trade. But now the thing is, what's the next, how we can trade it? Okay, if we refer to our analysis in my last video, there is no much changes. If this one turn to a bigger correction, this is the only place we can look for buy with the stop loss at least below this, or put in around here 1250. Okay, but if this one continue, if we want to buy, we have to wait for the bigger correction above the top, because now the thing is, this one can turn to a correction, or we get the another move, we get the correction. That means we have to wait for the correction before we look for buy, or having entry above this when we want to look for buy, because having entry once the price tag and continue. If tag is not moving, we take out the trade. Okay, why we cannot buy here? We have to get the buy setup, because whatever we have here also we can experience, because based on 15-minute forward chart I explained, even this one, if it move without giving us a correction, can be similar to what we have here. That's why even the breakout of this trend line, we have to get the correction before we trade. We do the correction, we cannot trade it. We see the breakout, we cannot trade the breakout. If but the only thing is breakout with the correction, yes. Okay, that's why also I mentioned having entry above this. We want a sharp move. If the price move as a corrective, we are not going to have entry above this. In case we get the bigger correction for one more drop, or this one turn to a channel. Okay, because the way is right moving, still we can expect the one move down. Okay. And if anyone wants to look for sell, they need to get a sharp move with the flag before they sell it. And any sell will be short term as well. Okay, by the way, we will be more interested to look for buy, but right now it doesn't give us a buy setup. And even if we move to 15 minutes, we don't have any buy setup. All right, by the way, we don't have a really good trade setup to trade. The only thing is we need to follow and see what we can see here. In this case, if I see any update or trade setup, I will share. Thanks.